All right, we are live. Good evening, Sir Daksh, Behl. Welcome to the
Good
IC
evening.
African podcast. It's good to have you here. Thank you for honoring my invitation to speak on Deep Insight Conversation. DIC African simply means Deep Insight Conversation. So the DIC is an acronym of these words, Deep Insight Conversation. I'm so grateful and honored. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much for having me over, Ume. I'm much obliged. It's all my pleasure to be here.
All right, so today we're here to treat this subject, mastery public speaking, ways to speak wow your audience and win any competition. But before we start, I would like you to introduce yourself in 1 minute. Let's meet you. Let my audience get to know who is Dash Dash Bear. Let's meet you. Thank you.
Sure. About my introduction. Well, what most people know about me is that I'm a TED speaker, a three times author, and a podcaster. But what most people do not know about me, and what I like to share, is that I work for teenage well being, is that I work for the mental health of the students out there. I work for them, I work to uplift their lives. And that is me, Daksh Behl.
Wow, thank you so much. I want to appreciate Mam Priyanka Bear for this opportunity to have access to you. She told me you've won about 70 awards. I think you've broken about 17 awards for competition in public speaking. So when I heard that, I'm like, wow, how did you do that? How could you? 70 competition, you won it, 70 award. I'm like, really? In public speaking, one man did that. Then I'm going to bring him here to speak on my podcast. So I will share those strategies, how he did it. That was why I said I will invite you here. So you teach us how we can win any competition because you've broken records. You've won about 70 competition awards. So that's why I said you come here to speak and teach us. So first of all, before we get started, I would like you to tell us what is public speaking. Define it
That's a
for
very
us
nice.
according to you.
Yeah, sure. That's a very nice question indeed. Thank you so much for asking, Lume. Public speaking, according to me, is the art. It's the art of communication. It's the art of delivering your message to the others so that it could be heard, so that it could be felt by others, and so that they could experience it by themselves. What I define public speaking as is something that is my heart and my soul. And that heart and soul connects with the audience. That heart and soul connects with the listener who is there. It's basically a communication style, but on a very large audience. So, where was I on public speaking, right? And this
Yeah,
public
yeah, yeah.
speaking is the art that anyone can master. It's not just you have to win competitions to master it. Everyone has the art of public speaking. Everyone, public speaking is there in each domain of our lives, in each step of our life. Whether it be corporates, whether it be our school, our education, you need public speaking, right? You definitely need it because it is an art that requires your patience, that requires your connection with the audience. And that is what I find public speaking as.
Wow. Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. So how were you able to do it that you were winning competition, breaking boundaries, winning award? How did you wow your audience? So teach us how to wow our audience when it comes to public speaking.
Sure would. Well, when we talk about wowing our audience, when we talk about like pursuing our audience, there are actually five criterias needed in order to do that. Just these are just simple five steps, five key areas that you need to focus on, and all these five areas, when you cover up all of them, you automatically build a connection with the audience. First of all, you might have observed that while I'm conversing with you, I'm constantly having a eye contact with each other. That is our first area. Eye contact, having a building connection with the audience, giving the audience an eye contact, giving them a chance, an opportunity to see us, to make them experience that my message, what I'm delivering right now, is just for you, just there for you. This is the first criteria, the eye contact. The second one is the voice modulation, how you manage your highs and your lows. How can you effectively speak? How can you effectively communicate? How can we effectively modulate our voice so that it becomes engaging for the audience, so that it becomes like the audience gets mesmerized into what you are saying? Because if you say a right word with the wrong emotion, it particularly delivers a wrong message. For example, if you say happy in an angry tone, it would sound like this: I'm so happy. So, this is not a right tone to say happy, right? Is it? It's definitely not. Right? So, that is why you need to master your voice in order to make your message be effectively communicated. The third step that comes is our body language, is how we move our hands, is how are we keeping our hands stable, is how we present our posture in front of the audience. Are we just standing there still instead of just communicating with others? Are we just being there for just sake of speaking? Are we just memorizing things and just reciting them on stage? All this matters when you're public speaking. So, in order to be effective communicator, you need to also work on your body language. So that because your body is 70% of what you express, your body actually gives off 70% of the vibes that you need to express to the audience. It's 70% body, 20% content, and 10% your eye contact, your voice, your vocations. Then this was the third criteria. The fourth one is your emotions, mastering your emotions. How do you stay happy in cheerful situations? Does your speech demand you to stay happy? Does your speech demand you to stay motivating? Does your speech demand you to just, let go of things? Okay, you need to master your emotions in such a manner that it feels effortless on stage. This is the fourth one. So till now we have covered four criteria. The first one is eye contact. Second one is voice modulation. Third one is body language, and the fourth one, what's the fourth one, Ume?
The first one is eye contact. Second one is the voice modulation. The third one is body language.
And the fourth one, the fourth one is our emotions. The fourth one,
Our emotions. Okay.
yes, yes,
Emotions.
exactly, yes. Then comes the fifth and the last one that you need to master in order to win people's heart is having an effective pause. How many times have you seen speakers just reciting things in a flow and not stopping in between? How many times have you seen people just, just speaking up and not stopping, not taking pauses, being breathless when they're on stage? So, this is the fifth one, taking effective pauses. Because with effective pauses, you can master any art. You can master even the art of speaking. And this is the main one. Being effectively communicating means to take effective pauses. Because if you know how to pause, when to pause, where to pause, you would eventually be able to control the audience heart, to be able to just, deliver your message to the audience. These are all five components: voice modulation, eye contact, body language, emotions, and the last one is your pauses. I guess you're on mute. Till now we have discussed the five key steps, the five key areas to, public speaking. How can we effectively communicate our message? Now I'll going to repeat it again, those five areas that are the key areas on which we can improve our public speaking on. The first one was eye contact, having an effective eye contact with the audience and making them feel special, making them feel that your content is just for them. The second one comes your body language, how you express yourself. How does your body express yourself? because it's 70% of your body, 20% of your content, and 10% of your voice. And the third
All
one
right, I'm
comes
back.
your
Can you hear
eye.
me now?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right, can continue. So I don't have to distract you.
Sure, sure. Then the third one is your emotions, how you express yourself. How does your expression feel like? Is it the wrong emotion with the wrong tone? Coming to tone, we come to our fourth one, that is our voice modulation. How high can we go in our highs and how low can we go in our lows? This is effective voice modulation. And for this, I'll come up with on a method that is very, 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 very easy to practice and also can help you master your voice, master your tone, master how to deliver it. Right. And then the fifth and the last one was taking effective pauses. Taking pauses wherever you feel like, taking pauses wherever you do not make yourself feel breathless, rather make yourself feel comfortable with the audience. That was all.
Thank you. Thank you. You are really a master at this thing. So I want to ask you this question. Why do people have fear of public speaking, and how do we do with the fear of public speaking?
Okay, that's a very nice question indeed. Thank you so much for asking, Ume. You said it right. People do have the fear of public speaking. Recently, I was studying a report where it said that 85% of the people have never experienced a stage in their lives. Can you imagine 85% of the people of the world? The entire population is 8 billion, and out of that 8 billion, 85% people have not ever experienced stage in their life because they have a stage fear. It's actually on the stage what happens. It is the fear of judgmental eyes. The basic fear that happens with everyone around when they fear from public speaking is the fear from judgmental eyes. The people who would judge them after they speak something. The people who would see them as their role model and then immediately come down as soon as they start speaking. It happens with most of the people, and that is the main problem because people think that people would not listen to them. It is public speaking. People are there to listen to you. The public is there to listen to you. You're there to communicate your message. So there is no need to just be hiding from the audience on stage. It's the fear of the audience that causes people to fear public speaking. Fear of speaking in front of so many people, that is what makes it difficult for most of us, because most of us have not seen that much people in our life altogether with seeing us as a reputed speaker speaking on the platform, right? That is why the people are very fearful of public speaking these days. And how can we overcome it? Well, I use the simple method of practicing my speeches in front of a mirror. So, when there's a full length mirror, right? You practice yourself in front of that mirror, see yourself in the eyes. If you're able to make an effective eye contact with yourself during the entire duration of your speech, you'll be able to communicate in the audience. Or else, the second method that I used in my early childhood, which was 4 to 5 years ago, I used this method which was to start with small and go increase one person each day. So every week I would go to my friend, one of my friend, I would recite my speech. Okay. And after I'm done reciting my speech, I would ask them their feedbacks. I would not hesitate to like just recite my speech. It's just a recitation. And then after I'm done with that friend, I'll call that friend again and one more friend with that. So this brings two people. Now, increasingly, gradually, I practiced it in front of those two people and then asked feedbacks again. Then, increasingly and gradually, I added more people: four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. And eventually, my entire class started listening to me, listening to my talks, listening to what I said. And after that, also, the school started listening to what I said, started listening to how I spoke. Due to the fact I started from small and went to big. So it's just from the small steps, these minute details, that would lead you to becoming mastered in that fear of the audience. Starting from small, going to big, adding one person each week or each month or each day, and then going big to speaking in front of millions, in front of a crowd that is so huge that you feel inspired, that you feel in awe that you're speaking in front of so many people.
Thank you, Dax. Okay, I want to ask you this question. Hope you can still hear me, right? You can still hear me now, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what is the importance of public speaking? Why did you take public speaking so serious? What's the importance of public speaking?
Actually, many people have asked me this question before, and thank you so much. You're another one. Thank you so much for asking it. I'm so grateful. What is the importance of public speaking? Ome, I want to share a report with you on here also. The report said that the people from Google, from Microsoft, from the famous tech startups, from the famous companies of the world are hiring engineers. But do you know what? What type of engineers are they hiring? Who are high on public speaking, who know how to effectively communicate their message, who know how to do a business presentation in front of millions, who know how to propose their idea in front of millions, who know how to effectively communicate. And that is the importance of public speaking in today's era. People need to understand, people need to know that public speaking is not just limited to speaking in front of four or five people. Public speaking is limitless. You can speak in front of n number of people when you're public speaking, because public speaking is not something that is like you are practically very fearful of speaking in the public. Public speaking is something that consists of all the people around the globe, that consists of every person, and that is what makes public speaking very important. Plus, adding to this, public speaking, the art of public speaking, is not something that is limited to the audience. Public speaking is something that yourself also. You are a master of your art. You're a master of public speaking. That is why people listen to your podcast. Am I right, Ume? You have mastered the art of public speaking. That is why people listen to your podcast. That is the importance of public speaking. Your podcast is heard within Africa, the entire Africa. Why? Because you have mastered how to speak with the gathering, how to speak with so many audience. That is the importance of public speaking these days. And about why I chose public speaking, I chose this field because it was an on demand field back then. I felt like, because I was very underconfident when I was a child. I was very underconfident. I was not able to express myself freely. And that is the core reason why I chose public speaking, to express myself, to open up with the audience, to open up with the people around me.
Wow, I got what you did there. I got what you did there. You just flattered me. You said I'm a master at public speaking in Africa. I got what you did there. You just flattered me. You just flattered me. Well, I concord. I agree. All right, I want to ask you this question. Can you still hear me? I say thank you for the flatter or the affirmation. You said I'm a master at public speaking in Africa because I moved my podcast across Africa and the world. So now I'm playing beyond Africa. So I'm playing global. I want you to be beyond Africa. That's why I have to bring people like you who are in India. I have people in London, Canada, different countries in the world who I bring to my podcast. So just to, get more exposure, experience, and learn. So now this is the next question. Can you still hear me before I continue?
Yeah, I am able to absolutely see you.
All right. In 30 years to come, will you still be doing public speaking? In 30 years to come.
Could you repeat that again? Could you repeat that again, Ume?
Can you hear me? Did you get my
Yeah,
question?
I can. No, I didn't get your question.
Okay,
Could you
I
repeat
said
it again?
in 30 years in 30, in 30 years to come, 30 years, will you still be doing public speaking?
Yes, I'll definitely be doing public speaking in the next 30 years, because it will still remain a skill that is engraved deep inside my heart. Actually, like you mentioned before, I've earned a lot in public speaking. Then why leave the skill when you can actually grow in it? It is infinite, like I told you, it is endless. It is not restricted to speaking in front of 5 to 10 people. It is limitless. You can speak in front of n number of people. Whoever you like, whatever you like, you can speak in front of them. That is why I would still continue it in the next 30 years.
All right. Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. So the next question is this: how do you win any competition?
Like I told you earlier, the five steps, I'll elaborate on them one by one. I'll elaborate on them one step at a time, and then we could like continue with the how to win a competition. So these were the five steps. Could you repeat them? Have you've written right? I can also repeat them, but I want you to repeat it just in case. The first one, the first one was voice. Could you repeat it again? It's not able to hear you. No problem. Well, the first step out of these five steps was was effective communication. For effective communication, out of these five steps, I'll cover up the first one being voice modulation. Now, for voice modulation, I use a simple method. This method is known as the underline and the circle method. Okay, right. So, under this method, what falls in? Well, when we talk about the underline circle method, we can underline a negative word, whatever you need to go on a low tone bit, to go slowly, to concisively present your voice, you underline that particular thing. While in the circle method, when in the circle part, you circle a positive word. So as you're speaking, it would, let's suppose your sentence is, Tom became happy, but immediately he became sad. Okay, then what you would say is you would circle first of all happy because it's a positive word, because you need emphasis on it, because you need your voice to go high on happy. So you would circle that particular word. You would circle happy and then underline sad, because that sad part would become a low tone voice, would become a area where you have to detain your voice. So what you would do is, when you're reading Tom was happy and then he became sad, instead of reading like this, you should go, Tom was happy and then he became sad. Now, this was an effective way to communicate from happiness to sadness, from extremely high to extremely low, to being concisive, to being restricted with our voice. This was voice modulation, the underlined circle method. Underlining the negative words where you need your voice to go low, and circling the positive words or the words where you need a high pitch in your voice. And try to make them sound like a high pitch instead of just going normal with the flow. Instead of going either down on the low pitch, when you need to go on low pitch, you have to turn your volume down slowly by slowly. This is what it sounds being on low pitch. And when you need to go on a higher pitch, you need to do this. You need to just, increase your volume of the voice, increase your projection. It should not sound like screaming, but it should sound much like communicating, much like being happy instead of being happy. So there's a huge difference between the both, because the second one felt emotionless, but the first one felt like you were actually happy doing the task. You were actually contented to do that particular thing. Now, moving on to body language. How do you master body language? First of all, we'll go from down to up. In down, we come up with our feet. Now, in our feet, we need to keep our feet stable, always stable. Let's suppose this is our shoulder level, right? So we have to open our feet this much that it opens to our shoulder level, not beyond that, because and keep our feet stable back down, due to the fact that this gives us a very powerful position. Then what you have to do is to just is to after you're done stretching, then you have to just expand your chest. You have to broaden your chest by pulling back your shoulders, and then your hands have to go in this position right here. This is a powerful position because it shows that you're powerful on stage. It shows that you're effectively communicating your message. It shows that you are ready to face the audience. It shows that you're ready to communicate your message. Now, this is what this power position shows, right? Now, what you need to do is have this power position so that it helps you. And after that, after you're done having this power position, pulling your shoulders back, opening your legs till your shoulder level, you have to keep your body stable. You have to keep your body stable in one particular spot, in one particular area, so that you do not move much and it does not become distracting for the audience. This was the body language part. Now, coming on to the emotions. What I prefer, what I use for practicing my emotions are, believe it or not, nursery rhymes. Because nursery rhymes are one of the best examples to practice our emotions. Let's say, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. If you want to say it happily, we would say it in a very normal tone, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Then, on the contrary, if we want to change our emotions, when we are changing our emotions, we need to have the same text but spoken in different emotions. So it need to sound sad for, like, let's suppose the audience. For, let's suppose you're saying Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, but in an angry tone. So you would say Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, how I wonder what you are. Now, this is a very angry tone. This is a very agonish tone that you're saying Twinkle Twinkle Little Star in. Like, I practice it. I practice using a nursery rhyme and then I speak it in different emotions so that it becomes a master of that emotion. If you want to make it crying, then Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, how I wonder what you are. Now, this sounded crying enough. Now, that is what you need to do in order to master your emotions. Till now, we have covered three areas. The first of all was voice modulation, where we use the underline and circle method. Now, in this method, what you need to do is to underline the negative words and to circle the positive words. On the negative words or the low tone words, you have to pull your volume down. And on the positive words and on the high tone words, you have to put your volume up. Now, this is what happens in the underlying circle method of voice modulation. Second, we covered body language, how to have effective posture. Pull your shoulders back, open your legs to your shoulders level, keep them stable, do not move from that particular pace. Hands like this on your belly button, and then you have a very powerful position with your shoulders pulled back, and that feels that you are ready for the audience to take over their hearts, to take over their minds. Then the third one that I covered was emotions. What I use is to practice a written piece of text, primarily nursery rhymes with different emotions. Let's suppose Twinkle Little Star with all the emotions: happiness, sadness, anger, fear, sorrow, all of these emotions combined. I practice it, and repetitive practice helps me master my emotions. Now, these were the three areas. The fourth one that I'm going to come upon is your pauses. Many a times, actually, we see people not taking pauses enough, not pausing enough, not effectively communicating their message because they're not pausing ample amount of times, right? So, what we need to do for taking effective pauses is to pause. This may sound funny, but where to pause is necessary. Now, the where to pause part, you have to pause wherever you see a punctuation mark. And while practicing also, like, let's suppose your line was, um, I am, I am very elated to be here with you. Let's suppose this was your line. Take care. And then you say something like, I'm very elated to be here with you. Because elated, after elated, you have a comma. And that comma requires a 2 second pause. Huh. With this 2 second pause, I remembered a very effective method. This 2 second pause, would you actually believe that audience has a time to connect with you? Would you believe that? Because if you go in a continuous flow, if you go in one particular order and repeatedly say that particular thing continuously for a long duration of time, it may sound monotonous to the audience, like I'm speaking right now. It feels like I'm rapping, but actually not. I'm speaking at a very fast pace. It does not build a connect with the audience. That is why you need to take it slowly. Now, like you saw earlier, and you're saying now, I am taking a 2 second pause. The audience actually has 3 seconds to, you actually, as a speaker, have 3 seconds to last your connect with the audience. Do remember that. So if you pause for just 2 seconds after those three, this gives the audience ample time to process that information and to be ready for what you're going to speak next, to be ready for what you're going to say the next moment. Now, taking effective pauses comes from taking pauses on every comma, on every punctuation mark, every question mark, every exclamatory mark, every full stop. You need to take pauses. You ought to take pauses there. Okay, and then also when we talk about taking effective pauses, we need to remember that the audience needs time to process our information. We are not a bullet train that will go so fast that the audience couldn't even process what I just said. We are humans, and humans have brains and they need time to just process that what you're saying. That is why going slowly is very important here. So that was till I covered till the pauses part. Till now we have covered four key aspects, primarily voice modulation, body language, emotions, pauses. And the fifth one that is left is simply eye contact. Now, how do you have an eye contact with the audience? For this, I'm going to share with you an industry secret. But listen carefully because this is a very important secret. Are you scared of facing the audience? Are you scared to see their faces whenever you're speaking? So instead of that, what you can do is to see their foreheads. To see their foreheads. Because foreheads saves you from the emotion trap. Your audience could eventually trap you in an emotional trap that if you're saying something and you're pretty happy and pretty cheerful exclaiming to say that thing, and then your audience has a reaction that is pretty annoying, pretty angry, then you might get trapped in their emotions and may forget your speech. That is why, to save yourself from the emotional trap, we use our foreheads. Looking at our forehead is very easy. If you continuously look at someone's forehead, and if you see the audience with your foreheads, they wouldn't know that you just saw their foreheads. It feels like that you're seeing them directly into the eyes and are making an eye contact. And for eye contact, there's also second tip, that is to see the audience line by line. As soon as you complete one line, move to the next audience. As soon as they complete one stanza, move to the other audience. These, let's suppose you're saying that Mm, that you're pretty contented, that you're pretty that life can be challenging sometimes, but we ought to remember this one rule, and this one rule is going to change your life drastically. Now, this one rule is called dash. Now, look at, like I just made you see. I was just looking at the audience one by one line after one line, and that created a huge impact on the audience because it felt like I was personally connecting with them. Plus, I was looking at their foreheads, so it also felt like that I was looking in their eyes, and I was actually not. So, this is a very huge tip. Till now, now we have covered all five areas or five key aspects to master our public speaking, to win any competition, to win any area. It's just your content needs to be strong now. Now, after your content, after because your content is the king actually, and also the audience is also your king. The audience, if your audience is not there to listen to you, then I don't believe that you're actually public speaking, because the main aim of public speaking, the main motive of public speaking is to leave your message with the audience. If your audience is mesmerized, if your audience know what you're talking about, if your audience just feels that connect, if you after you're done delivering your talk, if your audience knows what your message was, if your audience remember what your one main line was, then you're successful in public speaking, then you're successful in making them remember who you are, in making a permanent impact on their lives. And that is what I find public speaking as. Now, moving on, I'll recap the five key aspects that I just discussed. First of them was voice modulation. Now, under voice modulation, you use the underline and circle method. Now, in the underline part, you have to go in a very low tone, because the underline part is for negative words. You need to go in a very low tone when you go there. Then comes the circle method, where you need to circle on the positive words and go in a very high tone. Then comes your body language. Shoulders to the back, your hands should be like this and to your belly button. And then you have to put your feet, open it till your shoulders. Your shoulder level, your feet level should be equally open, should be equally matched. You should not move on stage much. Then, after this comes, because this is a very powerful position, then after this comes emotion. What I use is a nursery rhyme, practice very different emotion, various emotions, anger, fear, happy, sad, sorrow, all these emotions, envy, all these emotions. I practice them with nursery rhyme, and thus I actually am able to master my emotions. Then comes our pauses, that is our fourth part. And under these pauses, you can take effective pauses by just doing one thing, and that is to pause. To pause as soon as you see a punctuation mark, to pause as soon as you see a comma, a question mark, a full stop, an exclamatory mark. Anywhere you see any of these signs, just take a simple pause. Just take a breather, just take a refresher for yourself. Adding to this, to your audience actually have 3 seconds till your connect breaks with the audience. If I abruptly pause in between for supposedly right now, I might believe that many people have lost their connections right now due to the fact that your audience only has a connection after you forget your speech for just 3 seconds, after you end a line for just 3 seconds. After those 3 seconds are elapsed, you're done with your time because you have to restructure your time with the audience. You have to rebuild your time with the audience so that they are able to just be mesmerized in your talk again. Now this was pauses. And now, finally, I would like to talk about our emotions, pauses, body language, voice modulation, and the final, the last, the biggest step of them all, which was to which was your content, which was to deliver your message effectively to the audience, which is to deliver your talk, your convey your regards to the audience, to leave them mesmerized with it. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. That was all that I had to say. For winning any talk, for winning any competition, just follow all these guidelines, follow all these steps, and you'll eventually be able to master the art of public speaking. Thank you so much. You will all have a good day, and I take a leave now.
Oh, the network took me out. Let me see if I'll be able to bring him back.
Two things changed me totally. One was time and two was target. Once I put my time on ground and my target, I look like a madman. A man with a vision is a madman until the vision comes to pass. You cannot pull me out like this because I am hungry to win. Except you are ready to eat this kind of spirit, you are not making progress anywhere. A case in point, I just had Thinkation 2019. The year before that, I had 700 people. But this year, I said to myself that I wanted 5,000 people to register for it. In a space of 2 months, I had 7,000 people registered. When the event came, there were 3,500 people in attendance. So that tells me that I can do more. Once you put time on any project, time on any assignment, time on anything, it changes who your friends are. It changes who you talk to. It changes where you go. If your friends are the same ones you had 5 years ago till today, that means you have not made progress.
Wow. If you're watching this video now,
Hello.
yeah, I am back. Sorry about that. That was the network. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
It was the network glitch. It didn't have to block me out, and I had to struggle to come back to make it work. All right, thank you. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, now I understood that the same way you wow your audience is the same way you win any competition.
Exactly.
Correct, right?
Yes, precisely.
Wow, fantastic. Fantastic. So you use the eye contact, the voice modulation, body language, emotion, and having effective pauses. To win any
Yes.
competition, you need to have all of these things. To wow any audience, you need to have
Yes.
all of these 5 things. These are the keys.
Yes. Yes,
And he said in
indeed.
the next 30 years, he will still be doing public speaking. That's so amazing. I'm like, wow, really? So public speaking will help you command influence to be able to influence anybody easily. Look at Steve Jobs. He communicates better. That was why he's well known in Apple. So you need to learn how to speak in public so you'll be able to have influence over others. You'll be able to lead. Great leaders speak, they communicate, they command influence and attention because they know how to speak in public. They know how to speak anywhere. They know how to communicate better with their body language, with their emotion, with the eye contact. That's what will make you believe that person. You trust them easily because they show you that they know what they are talking about. They know the product they are bringing out because they speak it with confidence. You will be able to buy into their ideas that these people are doing. They know what they are doing. They just make you to easily believe them. They'll persuade you easily because they have mastered the art of public speaking by knowing how to give you with eye contact, the voice of modulation, body language, emotion, and having effective pauses. Do you know that when you pause, you make people to be curious to know what you want to say next? That sense of suspense. You see suspense when you pause. You'll be like,
Yes.
what next? People will be patient. They're like, what next? What next? And when you now say they'll have to breathe deep, like, oh. When you say it, you said human brain needs to digest things. So when you pause, they have to digest what you've said. Then when you not say it, they will not get the point. You hit the nail straight. Wow, thank
Absolutely
you.
agreed with it.
You are a master. You are a master, Daksh. You are a master. Thank you
I'm
so
still a
much. So now,
learner. I am I'm still a learner,
oh,
Ume. I'm not a
thank you.
master.
Thank you. Now, what is the importance of thank you. So what is the importance of storytelling when it comes to public speaking? How do we master
Hmm.
storytelling? For a newbie now, somebody that's starting out in public speaking. So how do they learn storytelling and master it? So what is the importance of storytelling?
That's a very creative question indeed. How do you master storytelling in public speaking? When we talk about storytelling, the art of conveying a story, it should not be storytelling, but it should be story showcasing. Use your body language because you showcase your story as soon as the audience connects with you on that particular point, on your particular story, you get a plus point from that. You get your audience attention. You wow your audience. You just make them win your heart. You just make your win their hearts, right? So how do you effectively have a storytelling? Well, for me, precisely when I started doing storytellings, when I started reciting stories, what I would used to do is to find the emotions, the negative and the positive both, and then I would like to practice those emotional words along with the story in one flow, in one go, with pauses, with like having to stop at that particular point, to stop for 2 seconds to make the audience ponder, to add questions within my storytelling so that it makes the audience ponder what I'm about to say next, what is about to come next. How do we do this? How do we do that? How can we master this? Is this story really effective? Some questions like these could help the audience actually trigger to your story, to your storytelling. I use questions in my story. Then I use the PREP method, that is the PREP method, that is point of view, reason, example, and point of view. Now, point of view, when we talk about point of view, it is our own perspective. It is how we perceive that story. So I add my particular point of view in the start of the story. How I perceive the story. Let's suppose if it's a story about an angry snake, then have you ever stopped to wonder what anger can do to you? Ask yourself this question. This is a very intriguing question for the audience, indeed. And all these questions, questions like, does anger really harm you to the core? Questions like these intrigue the audience. Questions like these make the audience, force the audience to rather think about what you're speaking, what you're about to speak next. And then you say, now this story that I'm going to share with you today is going to help you manage your anger. Now this creates a very helpful impact on the audience. This makes the audience intrigued, makes them interested in what you're speaking. Then back it up by a story. Then back it up by your prep, P, last point of view. Then add your own point of view. Like as I mentioned in the story below, above, that we often lose our temper and often spoil our relations and often spoil our friendships with others just because of us losing our temperament, just because of us losing our like mentals, just because of us losing being angry at someone. So things like this, adding your own perspective into it, makes the story more creative. At the end of the day, you need creativeness. You need the art of effectively being creative with the audience, effectively being creative with your content in order to persuade the audience enough. That is how you do storytelling. As a beginner, you add your own perspective, then you add your story, then you add your own perspective, conclude with your own perspective. In your first perspective, add questions so that it intrigues the audience towards listening. That is all.
Oh, wow. Am I heard? Am I heard? Am I clear? Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can.
All right. You've shared a lot of secrets. Many might know it, but they don't execute. So the question I'll ask my audience is, after all you've heard him teach, what will you do with it? What will be your next action? Will you execute or you just know it and not take action? You have said that whenever you want to speak, you need to use body language. As I'm gesticulating, this is my gesture. I'm gesture. There's a meaning when you see me do this. It has meaning. So what will you do with everything you've heard here? You need to take action when you speak. Remember all of the things you have shared here. You need to use it because this podcast, I've made it free for you to have this information because this is privileged information that will change your life. You have access to it. Some podcasts you have to subscribe. Well, I'm getting there, but this now you don't have to subscribe. You've heard all of this information free. So you need to take action with what you've heard. You have shared a lot of value here. You have won a lot of competition. Know that he's a master at this. He started pretty young and he's doing well in this industry when it comes to public speaking. So thank you so much. Now, when it comes to public speaking, who do you look up to? Who is your role model or mentor in this public speaking?
Well, about my mentor, about who I aspire to be, it's Ma'am Behl Priyanka Behl. She is my absolute mentor. She is who taught me the art of public speaking, who introduced me the art of public speaking, and I'm so grateful to her. And I'm so grateful that I found her. I found someone in her who was able to inspire me, who was able to inspire me to start speaking, to start communicating, to effectively communicate my message, from being socially introverted to being socially extroverted, to have so many friends in my school, and to enjoy speaking within so many people, and to achieve who I am right now. The entire credit goes to her. I am just so grateful, touchwood, that she is my mentor, that she is someone who actually inspires millions of audience. Because without her, I was absolutely nothing in public speaking. All these hacks, all these secrets are first heard from her to me, and then I transfer it to others, and then I implement it myself, and then I transfer it to the people who are in need of that particular thing. And I'm so humbled to Priyanka ma'am for teaching me the art of public speaking, for teaching me. And I find it the best teacher in this entire planet, to be honest. I find it the best teacher to be teaching public speaking, to be teaching the art of public speaking. Now, you can find her on Empower Kids Personality School. You can search it up on Google, or else you could find Priyanka Behl on Google also. And you can find her contacts, and then you could contact her if you want to learn more about public speaking. There's just a glimpse of what she taught us. So it's endless, it's beyond our capabilities, because we need to absorb all of that data and then transfer it to you. So after I absorb all of the learnings that I get from her, I'll definitely transfer it to you, because I'm still a learner. I'm still in that process to improve myself daily, to improve myself in this public speaking process, in this public speaking journey.
Wow, wow, she really touched a lot of lives. I am happy that I came across her. Meeting her have changed many things about me, my thoughts, in fact, my thinking pattern, the way I do a lot of things have changed. It gave me a paradigm mind shift. So I'm so blessed to have her in my life too. She's a blessing to me, and she's have been a blessing to a lot of lives. Over 20,000 students, I've been 200,000 students that she have touched. So I'm so humbled, blessed to meet you too, because she have really touched life. Without her, I don't know how I would have met you, but she made me know you. She said a lot of stuff about you. She told me about you. She said, meet this guy. He's so great. Have him on your show. Is this, is that? I was like, wow, really? I'm like, I can't miss this opportunity. I can't wait to host you here. And at last, we did it. Now you are here on my program. So I'm honored. I appreciate that for giving me the access. This is a powerful relationship that I've ever encountered in my life. And I want to also appreciate you for giving me the opportunity to host you on deep inside conversation with me. God bless you. I appreciate. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much, Ume. Thank you so much, Ume, for inviting me over. You're absolutely right about Priyanka, ma'am. It was her who introduced you to me, and just so grateful for her to do that. I'm just so grateful to be here, to enjoy you, to enjoy this entire podcast episode with you and your audience. I'm just so humbled. Thank you so much for having me over.
Thank you. So we have just few minutes to go. But before you go, what will be your last word for us, to my audience?
Okay, so my last words to your audience would be to convert your dreams into plans and to turn them into your reality. Because every dream once thought of could eventually be turned into reality. I once thought of being a TED speaker, and now I am a TED speaker. Now, it only requires continuous actions, it requires continuous step towards that particular thing. It requires continuous progress. It requires from small to going big. It requires all of these actions, it requires all of these steps in order to be able to be who you want to be able to achieve who you want to be like. to be able to see, aspire people, and also become like those people.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. I remember you do a podcast. The podcast you do. Tell us about the podcast. What's your podcast about?
Okay, Life of a Teenager. My podcast name is Life of a Teenager. Now, this in this podcast, I recently today itself recorded another episode for the podcast. It will be airing in about 2 to 3 days. And in this podcast, what I basically talk about is how to improve your life as a teenager. I talk about my problems. What are the problems with me, and how did I came to overcome those problems within like life of teenager? How did I overcome those tensions? How did I overcome those misguiding situations? How did I overcome my fears? All of this and more for teenage well-being is discussed in my podcast. It's shown in my podcast. It's spoken by me and is perceived in my.
Wow. So, what inspired you to start your podcast? Why did you start that podcast?
Okay, so for me, basically, for voice modulation part, I started a podcast. Earlier, my voice used to be very fragile. Earlier, my voice used to be in a very monotonous tone. It used to be all like this, in a plain tone. No ups, no downs. Just this plain tone without any ups or downs. It sounded like a robot voice. So, to train my voice and to become a master of my voice, I started a podcast channel. I started to just, speak it out loud, to speak my inner emotions, to speak my inner thoughts out loud so that it impacts the audience. That also it impacts the audience. Adding to this, it also improves my voice quality. It also improves my voice modulation. Because in podcast, apart from the video podcast, actually, in podcast, your voice is delivered to the audience, not your body language, right? So that is what made me start actually doing podcasting, due to the fact that I was like, just into that I have to train my voice enough so that people could, feel those ups when I go up and those downs when I go down. So for voice modulation, I started podcasting.
Wow, wow, wow. Exactly. That was part of the thing and reason that made me also start my podcast. Because I wanted my voice to be authentic and unique. I wanted to have a unique sound. That whenever someone from if afar should hear me or hear my message without seeing my face, the person will be able to know that, oh, that's Master Collins talking. They'll be able to recognize my voice. So that's why I said I will do this consistently, be able to build a blueprint and the footprint and the track record of my voice, that whenever a strangers that have heard me over time come across a message without seeing my face, they'll know that that is me speaking. And I said to do videos. So again, I will have to be in their image, in their mind. I want to create imagery. Whenever they see my face, they'll say, ah, whenever they see my face, maybe in the billboard, they'll say, ah, that's Master Collins. I know him. I watch him on YouTube. That was why I said, wow, I'm going to make this to be a video podcast. And now we're doing it. And I have people from different parts of the world or in countries viewing my videos, listening to me, watching me and my guests when I speak. That's so fantastic. But how can we get your podcast? How do we get to listen to your podcast? Where can we
Well,
find it?
it's available on Spotify. You can go to Spotify and search for "Life of a Teenager" by Daksh Behl. It's "Life of a Teenager" by Daksh Behl, and you can search it DAKSHBEHL, and you'll find it out. That is my podcast precisely. That's how you find my podcast on Spotify.
Okay. Wow. Thank you so much for everything. We've done close to 1 hour. This is just 2 minutes to 1 hour, 58 minutes and 58 seconds. So thank you for coming. This is the end of this session. God bless you. I can't wait to have it some other time. When next I will have you, we do it here again. Thank you for coming to Deep Inside Conversation with Master Collins. So let's call it a day. Bye for now.
Thank you so
I
much for
love you.
having me over. I love you too. Thank you so much.
My regards to India and your friends who follow me too. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Bye. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.